Hey Kid Labbers, we are so excited you are back. These online videos have been so fun to make. We are in the middle of our unit on mini beasts. These are bugs, insects, creepy crawlies, they're all invertebrates. That means they don't have a backbone. If you are new around here, these online learning labs are part of our new Spark series where we hope to spark a love of learning with your child. If you want more ideas, be sure to check out our hashtag for this unit or see our learning extension guides on the website. And I like to start out the video with 2 book recommendations that can help inform your study at home. The first is a beautifully illustrated book by one of our favorites, Julia Rothman, and this one is called Farm Anatomy. There are a few particular pages in here about parts of a bee and parts of flowers that I think are great and helpful for this unit. And the second one is called Bug Hotel. This is a lift the flap book, which might seem sort of silly to use with older kids, but it's actually super informative. So I use it with preschoolers all the way up through upper elementary. Today we're going to talk about pollination. And to do that, I want to tell you a little bit more about one of my favorite mini beasts, bees. Let me first say that bees often get a bad rap because of their lookalikes, wasps, which are more aggressive and are quicker to sting than bees actually are. To tell the difference between bees and wasps, you have to look at the bodies. Wasps have longer, skinnier bodies that don't have much hair. Bees, however, are rounder and fuzzy. They have lots of hair all over their bodies. And bees by nature are really gentle. Honeybees are only gonna sting you if they feel threatened. And they only have one stinger that sticks inside of the skin, which means they die after they sting you. So they really don't want to sting you at all. Honeybees are a popular species because they produce something that most of us really love, honey. But there are actually over 20,000 varieties of bees. And bees do something that's really amazing. They pollinate. Pollination is the process of moving pollen from one flower to another flower of the same species. This allows the flowers to reproduce, and almost all flowering plants require pollination. Pollination can happen by wind or water, or more likely by bees or other pollinators carrying the pollen from one flower to another. So let's take a minute and review the parts of a bee and the parts of a flower as we talk about this cool process of pollination. So a bee is a type of insect. It has 3 parts to its body: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Of course, it has wings, and it also has 6 legs. It has these really cool eyes called compound eyes, antenna, and then it has a stinger at the bottom. What you may not know about flowers is they have both male and female parts. You've got the stem, you have the petals, and in the middle, you have what's called a pistil. This is the female part of the flower. At the base is the ovary, and the top is a sticky part, which collects the pollen as the bees or other pollinators bring it close by. The male parts of the flower are on the sides, and those are called the stamen, and that's where the pollen is actually formed that the bees will pick up and take to another flower. So let's talk about honeybees for a minute and how they pollinate flowers. The bee goes out into the field foraging, it finds a flower and it lands, it sucks up any nectar, and in the meantime, those fuzzy hairs all over its body will gather some of that pollen from the flower. And then it will go to the next flower, brushing off a little bit of that pollen, leaving it behind in order for that flower then to reproduce. The honeybee will eventually make its way back to the hive. Inside of the hive, you may find some baby bees. You may find some in the larva stage. You might also find some pollen and nectar combined in a cell called bee bread, and that's food for the babies. And some cells might store wax. So why is pollination so important to talk about? About 1/3 of all we eat comes from pollinated plants. Fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, beans, these are all important food staples that we rely on. But bees aren't the only ones that pollinate. There are a few others I want you to remember. They all start with B to make it easy. Butterflies, birds, beetles, and bats also do a great job of pollinating. Which brings us to our project. Today I want to show you how to make a really simple bee house. And this particular bee house is for mason bees. Mason bees are some of the most gentle varieties of bees, and they're solitary. Not like honeybees, they don't have a hive to go back to. Mason bees like to nest in small, hollow places, like bamboo reeds or small holes in wood. Mason bees don't make their own nests. They look around for what's already there. So making a bee house like this is gonna attract mason bees to your garden and ensure that you have a lot of really great opportunities to pollinate those plants. So to make this, all you need is a simple tin can, some twine, and what I like to call fillers. Today I'm using small bamboo reeds. If you have paper straws at home or newspaper that you can roll up into tight bundles, that'll work too. So first, if you want to decorate your tin, you can. I painted mine yellow and added some black stripes to make it look a little bit more like a bee. And I also punched a hole in the back side of the tin so that I could thread the twine in and hang it from a branch at the end. Now comes the easy part. You just want to fill it up. So you want to fill it as tightly as you can. The mason bees really like all of those tight nooks and crannies. And what they'll do is they'll come in and they'll lay their eggs and start to build smaller cells inside of each of the hollow tubes. You're gonna want to place this in your garden about 5 to 8 feet above ground, and you'll want to face it in the east side of your garden so that it gets the morning sun in the spring. When it starts to really heat up in the summer, you might consider moving this into the shade so that the larvae tucked inside don't get overheated. It's a super simple project with a really big result. You're gonna attract some great pollinator friends that are gentle and good for your garden. Have fun! If you guys give this project a try at home, be sure to tag us so we can see it, and check out the description below for more resources. See you next time! Chickens.